had to just do a quick change because I sat down and started filming and then realized I had a toothpaste stain on my black t-shirts. Did a little quick change here and now we're ready to go. Also, I'm feeling really good today because last night, the day that I'm filming this, the previous night, the Rangers just won game 3 in this round in overtime with a shot between the legs by Breadman. Oh, it was so good. I was very, very happy last night and it's carrying over into a good mood today. So today's video, as you can tell by the title, I want to talk about some books that I love that I don't really talk about a lot on here. So there are so many books that I absolutely love and adore, but I feel like I never get to bring up in videos because so many of the videos that I make on my channel here, also, yeah, that hair is annoying me as well, fit in to like dark, forbidden, taboo, but also like a lot of the trope specific recommendation videos I make, again, like these don't always fit into any of those that I have like enough to make dedicated videos for. So there are so many books that kind of just get like lost by the wayside that I absolutely love. I actually have a huge list here, so I'm not going to cover all of them, so I can definitely do a part 2, but these are just some that I feel like, I guess, talking about today, especially because I didn't prepare because I'm trying to pre-film videos because I have a really, really crazy week at work the week that this is going up. So I'm trying to pre-film videos. So I also didn't have a lot of time to prepare. So these are just all the ones that I was like, you know what, I can kind of talk about those off the cuff. First of all, let's start out with an alien romance. The Ice Planet Barbarians series. I feel like I never get to talk about this series. I love this series. So this one follows a group of human women who are trafficked by these aliens, and then when they are on this ship getting taken by the bad aliens to their planet, it ends up crashing and they like have to drop all of the human women on this planet, and they're like, we'll come back for them, but like we gotta keep going. And all these women end up crash landing on this planet that they dub Not Hoth, and when they're there, they meet all of these giant blue aliens who are like immediately like, oh my gosh, these women are here for us to be our mates because they have been really struggling to repopulate the tribe, and they're immediately like, all of these women can help us do that, but like in like a respectful way. These men, these blue aliens are absolute simps, and Georgie is our first one that we get here. So she is kind of like the leader of the group a little bit. She's the one who decides like, hey, we're gonna starve in the ship if we just stay in here, so I'm gonna go out looking, try to see if I can find us food, whatever. And when she's out there, she discovers, what is his name? Vectel, and he is like one of the leaders of the blue alien tribe, and they obviously don't speak the same language, but yet he immediately sees her and is like, you're my mate, and she's kind of like, what's going on here? But yeah, it ends up being, it's a huge series. I think I've read the first 7 books in it, but I think it has like 28 or 30 books in it. So like I always go to these whenever I need a break in all of the contemporaries or like with all the dark things, when I just need like absolute simp men. These alien men are obsessed with these women. Real men should take notes, honestly. And they're just so fun. They're so enjoyable. I always have a good time reading these books. I think book 2 and 4 I think are my favorite ones so far. It's just a good time, and I don't read like alien romances, so I never get to talk about that because like it doesn't really fit in anything that I ever talk about. But if you're looking for something really fun, you should pick up Ice Planet Barbarians. Next up, let's talk about a love triangle, Serenading Heartbreak by Ella Fields. So this one is a love triangle between a rock star, like brother's best friend situation, and then another dude, but I can't remember, like I think he's like her college boyfriend. So anyways, our heroine in this one, growing up, she has always kind of been drawn to her older brother's best friend and also bandmate, and he has never crossed, or like he doesn't really want to cross that line with her. He's very much like the bad boy, doesn't come from like great circumstances, is kind of like angry a little bit, really struggling, just like a sad, moody, broody boy. However, she's always been attracted to him, and they do end up having a little bit of a romance, and then something ends up happening and she goes off to college, they break up, whatever, and when she's away at college, she meets this new guy. I'm pretty sure he's a football player, and he's very much like the good boy, all-American kind of dude. And then when her brother's best friend kind of comes back into the picture, she doesn't really know like what to do because it's like her first love and then like her current love kind of like colliding a little bit. I feel like I did a shoddy explanation of that, but also I don't want to spoil anything that happens in this book. But I will just say, I'm not normally the biggest fan of love triangles. Because I always have a favorite, and I will say in this one, I definitely had my favorite as well. But like, you can't put up like a golden retriever, like a football player against a moody, broody, bad boy rock star. Like, you're not even giving the one dude a shot, okay? Like, I'm always gonna pick the rock star. But yeah, you're gonna have to read this one though to find out who our heroine picks. And yeah, I really enjoyed this one a lot. And again, it's one that like I don't really get to talk about a lot because I don't read a lot of love triangles, so like I never do like love triangle recommendation videos or anything. I just realized that I pulled 10 books off here, including the 2 that I just talked about, so that's 12 books. Do I really want to talk about 12 books in this video? So what do I want to pick up next? Let's go with a traditionally published one that I only read because I don't really read cartoon covers and I don't really read any traditionally published books, but it's Reylo fan fiction, and that's The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. So this was actually a top book of mine back in 2021, I think was when this one came out, and it was a favorite of mine. Listen, I love Reylo, okay? I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I love Reylo. I love the sequels. So when I was told that this was Kylo and Rey fan fiction that ended up being traditionally published, I was like sold. And then it's also a student teacher. So this one follows Olive, and she is in the science track, and she's very smart. She's at university, and in order to kind of cover up for, I think there's like another one, if I'm remembering correctly, like I said, it's been like 3 years since I've read this book, but I think if I'm remembering correctly, one of her friends is really trying to either take her out on a date or is trying to get her to date, and she's trying to get them off of her back. So in doing so, she ends up kissing her professor and like trying to make it look like that, oh, look, I'm already like taken, like you can't really like keep forcing this on me. And our professor, who's Dr. Adam Carlson, he is like, what is this girl doing randomly kissing me? But then when she kind of explains, he is kind of endeared to her. She's very like sunshiny, even though he is like a pretty big brooding grump. But when she ends up doing that, he's kind of like, oh, I kind of actually find you a little endearing, and like, fine, I'll go along with your fake dating thing. It's like, it's fun. It's in the sciencey field. Like, even though me, who like hated science, hated school, I still like, I didn't mind actually all of like kind of the science and like research talk and stuff. I actually found their relationship quite cute, quite enjoyable. There's nothing I love more than like a broody man and like a sunshiny girl, and that is definitely this dynamic. And I mean, listen, it is told in third person, so that's not my favorite, but still the story like captivated me from the beginning, and I really couldn't put this down once I started it. Like, I genuinely think even if this wasn't Reylo fan fiction, I still would love it just as much. This one, I truly don't know the last time that I've talked about it, but I absolutely love this book, and that is The Lady Gets Lucky by Joanna Shupe. I know, a historical romance from me. Listen, I don't really read historical romances, but I read this one years ago, back when Rachel from Rachel Reads and Sings and we did a collab vlog where like I gave her some of my favorite like forbidden and darker books to read, and she gave me 3 of her favorite historical romances to read, and I was blown away by this book. Okay, this is so good. So our heroine Alice in this one, she is, so granted, I'm not super familiar with like historical terminology, so if I like say something wrong here, just like give me some grace, okay? I don't really read them. But she is like single and in the marriage market, but like no one's really like going after her, and she's getting to the point where she thinks she's about to end up like she's gonna end up with someone that she doesn't want, doesn't love, whatever. But in order to avoid that, she's like, I need to like attract some men and find someone, like I really need to make it my mission. And our hero Kit in this one, he is very much a playboy. He has like no interest in settling down whatsoever. However, he is starting this new business venture, and he needs like a cook, or like he needs to learn how to cook and have like a really good menu in order to make this successful. And who's a great cook? Alice. And who knows what men want? Kit, and what they're attracted to. So they end up striking up a little bit of a deal. So Kit will help teach Alice how to seduce a man, and Alice will help teach Kit how to cook. And you know how with any of these arrangements things go. The feelings aren't just not gonna get involved, they're gonna fall in love. And oh my god, Kit was just like, he was so swoony. I loved him. I loved the way that he cared for Alice, and the way that he, like, as he's teaching her about like what men wants, and then you like see him realizing that it's actually Alice that he wants, and like that all these tricks that he's teaching her are working, but they're working on him. Oh, it's so good. I genuinely love this book so much. And yeah, I literally never get to talk about it because I don't talk about historicals ever, because I don't even think I've read enough to do a recommendation video for them. But it's so good. Next up, let's switch it up and do a bully romance, which again, actually, I was trying to think, I'm like, do I maybe have enough to do a bully trope, which I think maybe, you know, in a month or two I might be able to do that. But for right now, this is what I'm including it in here anyways, and that's Triix Venom by Penelope Douglas. This is the Eternal Ember special edition, but I didn't want to like bury to the bottom of my stack to grab my like other version of it. So this one is a bully sapphic sports romance. So Clay and Olivia in this one, they absolutely hate each other, both from like opposite sides of the tracks kind of, but they go to the same school. Clay is like a very spoiled, what is it called, like debutante type, and she plays, I think, do they play field hockey or lacrosse? Does it have their little thing on here? I don't know. They play a sport together, and Olivia is there, but she is seen very much as like an outsider from all of these other people at the school because her family is, she doesn't have parents, she just has like this group of brothers, which actually their book is coming out this summer, which I'm really excited for. But they're not like this rich, wealthy, like socialite kind of family. They are just like getting by. They have like, you know, they do some suspicious activities. And Clay and Olivia just instantly hate each other. They are so mean to each other, and they kind of have this like rivalry that runs pretty deep between them, but then as they start to get to know each other, they start peeling back some layers. Both of them realize that neither of them are kind of what they originally thought. I love this one a lot. Again, this is one of my favorite like recent releases of pens. I obviously talk about Penelope Douglas a lot on my channel here because they are my favorite author. I've read all their books except for Pirate Girls, the one that just came out, because I love their books. They always work for me. However, I feel like Triix Venom I never get to talk about because it is like bully, and I don't really read a ton of bully romances. So, but like I said, I think I'm gonna try to do a recommendation video for bully soon. Next up, so this one is not technically a romance. I think it's just a fiction. But listen, this one was like an honorable mention for me last year, and that is Carrie Soto's Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. So I've read, I think, 3 Taylor Jenkins Reid books so far, and I have loved each and every one of them. I've read Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, Daisy Jones and the Six, and Carrie Soto's Back. And Carrie Soto I had to pick out for this one just because she is my favorite heroine that I've read from Taylor Jenkins Reid. So this one, so Carrie was a very, very successful tennis player, like one of the best tennis players of like her time, and she retired years ago. However, when in current time in this book, when there is a new tennis player on the market that is getting ready to steal some of, well, not steal, I guess like overtake some of Carrie's records, she's like, I'm gonna come back and defend my titles because I don't want someone else to have those. She's extremely competitive, and she has not always been very well liked by the media, by fans. She's very like, when she celebrates, she makes it known. She's not gonna smile and wave and be soft and docile and pretty and like what kind of just like men and just people want when they look at a female athlete. She's very like boisterous, and she's not afraid to show like, hey, I'm the best and I know it and you know it. And I love that about her. I think she is such a badass. And yeah, so anyways, this is her comeback to tennis. And let me just tell you, Carrie, I guess you could argue that she's not like a super likable heroine. I love that about her. I love flawed women in books. I think that I'm cool with like when it's like every once in a while, like the stereotypical like pretty, soft, feminine, sweet heroine, whatever. Like obviously there's room for all kinds of women in books, but there's just something that I'm always going to love about a flawed, and she's not afraid of her flaws, and she's not going to apologize for her emotions. And like, I just love that. I love her. I loved the tennis in this. I love everything about this book. And there is like a romance subplot in here. It's obviously not like spicy or anything, but honestly, this book doesn't need it. It's just so good. I would just really recommend it. I know I don't really talk about books that are non-romance, but I do really love that one. I just keep going with my physical list here because I have a lot. So I'm trying to think, you know what? I can just make another video. Okay, I think I'll talk about 3 more in this one because what I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna talk about these 3 more, and then I'll set aside these ones. I'll talk about them in the next one. And like I said, I literally have this whole list here, so I will talk about some of these other ones, but I'm just gonna try to get through a couple more physical ones that I have here just because I pulled them off my shelves and I don't want it to be for nothing. And then I'll do a part 2 to this at some point. Oh my gosh, I'm literally about to cut this hair out of my head. Like not that. What is that tiny little baby hair? What is that? Let's go for an emotional one that I will say is not a traditional romance. But if you're okay with that, then I love this one. It's very emotional. It made me cry a lot. And that is Underneath the Sycamore Tree by B. Celeste. This does have a new cover. It's traditionally published under Bloom now. I think it's still available on Kindle Unlimited, but this was like the indie published cover, so the new one looks a little different. This one is a step-sibling chronic illness, like I said, non-traditional romance. Actually, then I wouldn't even call it a romance. Love story, I guess. Our heroine in this one, her father left when she was younger. Her twin sister died, and now she is suffering. I can't remember what chronic illness she has. But she is also diagnosed and her body is really like breaking down, and her mom just kind of like can't take it. So she ends up saying like, hey, I'll go and live with dad for a little bit just to kind of like give you a break. And just like, the mom isn't like a bad mom. She's just truly like, she can't deal with watching her second child now kind of slowly dying. So she ends up going and living with her dad that she has never really known, and he has since remarried, and the woman that he married has a son, and immediately when she moves in, he wants nothing to do with her. He doesn't like her. He doesn't like his stepdad, which is her dad, and she doesn't really know why, and he's not really like forthcoming with that information. He's just pretty much like a dick to her right off the bat. But then slowly but surely, as they get to know each other and as he starts to see, you know, like how she's struggling and what she's dealing with, and she then starts to learn like why he has all of this anger and resentment, not only for his mom, but also for her dad, it just unfolds. And truly, he just, you see him turn around and being from like this dick, like this absolute jerk when she first moves in, to just being like the sweetest. Oh, this book just like really, really broke my heart reading it. So I will just warn you about that. If you want something really emotional, I really love this one. And there also is a novella afterwards that, again, that novella is one of like the best things, like one of the best novellas I've read. I think it's called All the Shattered Pieces. I won't say anything about that because it would spoil it. But again, I feel like I never really get to talk about this one because like, I think maybe I've included it in like a step sibling recommendation video before, but otherwise like it doesn't really have any other tropes that it fits into unless I do like a non-traditional HEA video. Okay, last two. So this one, it was, I think it was this my second? No, I think it was my third favorite book from last year. So you would think like I've talked about it a lot. And maybe I have, but genuinely I don't feel like I talk about it in like rec videos a lot because I don't know how to put it into a category. Because again, it doesn't really fit in a lot of the like books that I typically read. And that is Even If It Hurts by Marnie Mann. Are we surprised that I want to talk about this book again? And yeah, maybe out of all of these, I have talked about this one the most frequently on my channel as of late. But I want to talk about it again. This is my channel and I love it, and I need everyone to read this book. Although I don't think everyone will like feel the same emotional impact from it as I do. It follows our heroine, and she ends up going abroad in college to study over in the UK, I think it is. And when she's over there, she just has kind of like all these great life experiences. She sees all of these places she's always wanted to see. She's learning, she's experiencing like the culture there. She's over there, she ends up meeting one of our heroes, Oliver, and they fall in love. And she shares, you know, a lot of firsts with him. Like he's her first love, and you see them having this great time together. However, obviously, since she is studying abroad, it does come time for her to return home, but she's like, I don't want to do that anymore. Like, I want to stay here with you. Maybe I can find a job over here, whatever. However, she does end up getting a dream job offer back home. I think back in like, no, not in Boston. I don't know, somewhere in the States. And Oliver is like, I can't allow you to give that up for me. Like, I won't allow you to give that up for me. Then as the years wear on, they lose contact, and she ends up meeting our other hero, Lance. He falls in love again, and they get married. They're living their lives. They're happy. But then what happens when she sees her first love again, when she's going away for work? So I will warn you, there is cheating in this book, okay? And it is harder to read because both of our heroes are amazing options. When I say that you know, like love triangles, like Serenading Heartbreak, I had a clear favorite with that book. Like I was like, I know which one you should pick and you better pick him. Where with this one, genuinely, Oliver and Lance were two amazing guys. Neither of them like gave her any reason to not pick them, you know, like they truly were both great heroes, and that's what made this, I feel like, all the more devastating. Personally, I felt this book on like a level that I can't even express or like will not discuss on the internet. Wait, why do I have this bookmarked? Oh, because I think I was, I bookmarked that one. I love this book a lot, okay? And you should read it. Remember when I finished the audiobook, I just like kind of stared outside because I finished, oh my god, the epilogue. Oh, the epilogue is one of the most like, oh, like I might as well rip my own heart out. I remember when I saw Marnie Man at Book Bonanza, I was like, this book wrecked me. And I had this and When Ashes Fall, and she was like, she thought I was talking about When Ashes Fall, because obviously that one emotionally devastating as well. And I was like, no, this one right here. I mean, yes, obviously When Ashes Fall, love, very heartbreaking, very beautiful, but I'm like, no, it's even if it hurts, thank you. I love that you made it hurt. And last but not least, I'm going to talk about today is a popular book, but one that I feel like, again, I don't get to talk about a lot on my channel, and that is Sea of Ruin by Pam Godwin. So this one is, I will say, I guess, love triangle-ish. I'll let you read the book and find out. But our heroine in this one, she has always wanted to be a pirate. Her dad was a pirate, but her mom raised her to really be, it's like historical times that this is told in. And her mom has always wanted her to like follow in her footsteps and be like a socialite. And when she, I think is only like 14, her mom tries to marry her off to this old scumbag. So Bennett ends up making a run for it. And she eventually becomes a pirate. She gets her own ship. She's out. She's living her life, you know, whatever. She's having a great time, and she is hunting for her dad's, like, is it his treasure or something that like he kind of dedicated his life to finding, and then when he passed away, she kind of like took that up, and she's now out on the seas. However, she is also kind of a bit of a wanted pirate, and Lord Ashley Cutler is a pirate hunter, and he ends up catching Bennett, and it does become a little bit of a captor-captive situation with her and Lord Ashley. But then there is a third hero that comes into the, or I guess third character, second hero that comes into the mix, which is, oh, I just had his name. What is it? Priest, who is a bit of a former flame, we'll call it, of Bennett's. And when he finds out that she's kidnapped, he wants to help get her back, even though she wants absolutely nothing to do with him. And it does end up being like a bit of a love triangle. I won't say anything more because I don't want to spoil anything. It's obviously dark. It's Pam Godwin. It's a little messed up. Obviously, it's captor-captive. Definitely heed your triggers. I really love this one. It's my second favorite by Pam Godwin. Definitely the three of these characters, I was like, oh, I love each and every one of you. That is all that I'm going to talk about today. Like I said, I have a ton more, so I will maybe do a part 2 of this video, maybe like next month. But yeah, so this one's going up on Tuesday, I think. So Friday, I'm going to have bodyguard recommendations. And then after that, I'm not quite sure. If there are any videos that you guys want to see from me, please let me know down below. I know I always ask, or like I don't always ask that. I know that then sometimes like I get asked for specific tropes, but I just don't like have enough sometimes to talk about with those. So I promise I'm not like ignoring. Like I know Brother's Best Friend is one that someone's asked for like this year, and I still haven't made yet because I just don't have enough Brother's Best Friend romances, or like newer ones that I have read since I made my last one. Even though my last one was like 2 years ago, I think, I still don't think I have enough. There are ones that then it's like I kind of am keeping in the back of my mind, but if there are any that you want to see, any, like it doesn't even have to be trope recommendations, if there's just any kind of like fun video ideas you want to see from me, please let me know. I'm kind of like burned out a little bit in terms of like the creativity department just right now, just with editing, starting line, and outlining, take what you want. Like kind of all of my creative brain cells are going into both of those books right now. Hope that you guys found some recs from here. And yeah, that's it for today's video, and I will see you when I see ya.